a chart first. Okay. Well, okay, well, since a lot of people are asking me how to actually do the Hackintosh on the Intel NUC, like nuc8i7hnk, where I'm using right now, so I made a video yesterday, like last time, and I was becoming very lazy and I don't really know what I'm talking about in that video. So never mind, don't look at that video if you haven't looked at it yet. So I'm going to do a full tutorial, and from the 0 to what you can achieve as I am achieving in that NUC. That NUC is literally not really perfect, but what you can get from it is how its Bluetooth and Wi-Fi is working. You can use those AirDrop, and you can use all the continuity. Even you can use an Apple Watch. You can use an Apple Watch to unlock your device, and as well as Final Cut and video editing is somehow very good from in this device, and it's get a lot of capabilities on actually expanding the system. It got 2 NVMe drive slots. It got a swappable Wi-Fi card slots. Like it also have a, I mean, I don't know why it has this SATA power connector on its board on its own. It's got i7 CPU and AMD Vega, but it's not a Vega actually. It's like it can prove into like RX 480 GPU, but it's got 4 GB of HBM video RAM. It's quite a good device, and maybe we can go and happy to check out how we are going to do it into Hackintosh. However, my tutorial here is actually I already own a real Mac, like a real MacBook Pro over there. So this tutorial is mainly about when you already own a Mac or you're using a Macintosh virtual machine, so that you can utilize that virtual machine and to turn your current NUC into a Hackintosh. And this tutorial have great thanks to Tony Mac's S86 forum. That's almost all the information I gathered in about, and the sound is not really working properly, and the video card is not really working very properly, but it's more than enough when you are doing editing, and if you don't use the Microsoft Office and everything goes on. And I'm going to tell you what is actually working and what it's not in the video. You will see. Okay, let's begin. Well, first thing first, you will have to turn on your real Mac. Yeah, here, a real Mac that puts into macOS 10. And here, what we are going to need is a USB drive. This USB drive is going to make you a bootable drive, to bootable device into the macOS, and somehow using another bootloader called Clover to actually prove the current machine into a Mac, so that the macOS on this device is going to install all the files onto a compatible drive on your Hackintosh. Yes. Well, starting here, we will go to Tony Mac x86.com. This is everything begins with. Click downloads, and we're here to the Unibist 9.1.0 Mojave. This is where dreams begin, and hit download. If you can't see the download button, or if the download button is great, you will have to register as their membership. Okay. Again, we unarchive it. We don't need this web page anymore, and we will have this Unibist 2. I mean, because I already have a Unibist 1 here. So now we right click it, or just use your 2 fingers to tap on your touchpad and click open. This will pop up a dialog, and you will hit open here to turn on this Unibist. Well, this is where our USB drive come to life. We plug in this drive and it's going to pop up. There's a little hint here, because this Unibist is not really currently support any USB drive that is larger than I mean, maybe 64 gigabytes. I have a 128 gigabytes of USB sticks here, so it's not gonna recognize it. For what we are here to do is to erase it into a GUID partition map, because we are going to clear everything out of this USB drive, of course, and format is US macOS extended, and we'll erase this drive. It's going to do its job right now, and what it's going to do is hit done. Now we have 128 gigs of capacity in this partition. If your partition is not really that big, or if you have a 16 gigabytes of a USB drive, or maybe 32 gig, it's no problem. You don't need to do this procedure. But I have 128 gigs of capacity. I will have to partition this into smaller one, so that the Unibist can recognize it as a USB drive. So here we click plus, and we will have one more partition, and I will drag this capacity into a 16 gig, almost 16 gig, and I'll rename it as Insta, so that I can recognize it easily, and hit partition. It's going to do its job. And well, after this, okay, well, I hit done, and it's good to go. And Command plus Q, I can quit this utility, and I hit continue here, and continue, and continue, and continue, and agree. And now we can hit this install macOS drive here. This is what we're going to install in, and hit continue. And this is Mojave. Mojave is the drive. This is where, because I have already downloaded into here. If you did not download it, you can just go to App Store, live search App Store, and turn it on your Mac App Store here, and go to Mojave, search Mojave, and it's going to have this USB macOS Mojave here. Click download. Well, the system preference is going to pop up, and you are able to like hit download here, and eventually, well, after you download it, it's going to appear like this. Install macOS Mojave. This is where you're going to need to install. Well, so my Mac is already up to date. It's already macOS Mojave 10.14.4, so I don't need to download it anymore. But if you are up to date and you don't have this install macOS Mojave application here, you will need to download. You can download it. I mean, if you're going to install a Hackintosh, you will have to download this. Well, we don't need to install it anymore, so we just quit it, and we go back to Unibist and select Mojave, make it blue. It's selected, and hit continue, and we hit UEFI boot mode here, because our Hackintosh, like nuc8 generation NUC, is not supporting legacy boot mode anymore. So we hit UEFI boot mode here, and we hit continue. We don't need to inject anything here. Well, continue, and type in my password. Well, it's going to copy files and everything else, and it's going to finish on time, I think. Well, let's take it a fast forward here. Well, now that our USB installer is created, we can open the install macOS Mojave. This drive here, we can see the install macOS Mojave here. So that's everything. We quit it and we eject all of these drives. We eject all, and here we go. We have our drive here. Now what we're going to do is to plug it into our Hackintosh here. Well, first thing first, you will have to have a pair of these mice and this keyboard, of course, and USB drive. Now I plug it into the front. It's rather tricky because the back, from the blue one, now you will have a blue one and the yellow one here on the front. The blue one is not working when we are booting into the UEFI, but the yellow one is working. So we plug into the front yellow one USB jack, and we turn it on, and here we go. Hit the F2. Well, here we can see our UEFI settings here. Well, surprisingly, because I'm using an external recorder here, but it's not appearing anything on this device because it's now outputting from the front HDMI port right now. So I'm going to switch it for you. Here we go. Oh, damn. Well, this is what you can actually see on the actual NUC there, but I'm just exporting it from here, like the HDMI port here. I have a capture box here, and I export all the way using the USB drive here. So it's actually what it's displaying on the NUC. So I'm here to press F9 to load the defaults to eliminate anything that it's have those potential effects on our project. So the first thing first, we go to the boot, and very important, we disable the secure boot here. Secure boot and LED control, because I like red color. So I'll disable every color. You don't have to do this. Again, you don't have to do this. I like red colors, so I'm red. Perfect. Okay, please don't. Okay, press F10 and cancel. Wait a minute. By the way, you don't have to do this because the PCI M.2 slot 1 is the main slot I'm using right now. I already have a Hackintosh on there. I don't want to affect that anymore and make it more realized in the real world. So I'm using the M.2 slot 2, which is my Windows where it located. So let's press F10 and exit. Remember, the only thing you want to change is the boot option. You have to disable the secure boot and everything, and that's everything. Press yes. And now we hit F10. Hit it hard. Hit it real hard. Well, it's booting again. Select I expand. That's what my USB drive named. Well, it's booting, it's testing the hard drive. Scanning entries. Oh, here we go. We have external macOS installed. This external means our USB drive. Of course, we select that. Right, of course. Perfect, now we are putting into the macOS installer right now. It's gonna take a little bit while, but that it's everything you are gonna take. And after this, it's done. I mean, you install, you do some configuration, and that should be everything you're gonna need for this device. Well, there's another problem because recently I updated to like 10.14.4. The audio I used to use was VoodooHDA, which is the universal driver, like third-party driver from VoodooHDA, and it's not working at all. However, the Apple ALC is not supporting ALC700, which our Hackintosh is using right now. It's just not supporting that yet. I've been working with that with someone on 20Max x86, but he said it's actually Intel's fail because Intel has some audio problems with this device, and as well as the nuc8i7hnk, which is a higher end device of my model. It's not working, so that's all. Well, it's not gonna take long. Well, everything goes just fine. Okay, it put into the macOS utilities. Well, here we are. Don't mind that. That's my, yeah. Okay, disk utility. First we look at this. And very important one, you press this item here and show all device. It's going to show the tree here. You will see the SSD here and my USB drive here, and this is the virtual disk that the installer created in order to install everything on your device. And the install Intel SSD here, we don't have a partition for that. Well, back in disk utility here, and this is our SSD drive, internal SSD drive. Well, I just formatted into a like HFS partition already, so there's no need to do anything to it. Now let's begin installing our macOS into the SSD drive. Now, because here I have already get rid of the Windows on my SSD drive here. If you have already only Windows system on there, you should have to be careful when you are doing all this work before losing any of the data you already have on your disk. Perfect, continue, agree. Well, there's actually a regulation that telling us not to install any macOS Mojave on any non-Mac machines, but we're doing it anyway. Well, that's it. The installation begins right now. I'm going to fast forward this procedure. See you later.
Well, now it says it's about like 3 minutes remaining. It is actually, it has done some partitioning on your internal SSD, and the internal SSD is actually contain the installer itself. So the install will begin inside the your local machine, but we still need your USB drive, because USB drive is the only thing that can boot the installer and the macOS itself in your Hackintosh. Well, after it copying its files onto your SSD, and it's going to reboot, and I'm going to tell you which it's going to be a lot of boot entries, so I'm going to tell you which entries you are going to use. This is rather tricky because every time it's going to confuse someone. Well, it rebooted. We don't need to do anything because it's definitely going to boot into our USB drive again. And here, in case you don't know, we can use mouse in our UEFI, like in the Clover, but here we will see a couple of boot entries. Like external, it's our USB drive. We don't need to put into the internal external drive anymore. In fact, we are going to boot into this macOS from Untitled. Untitled is the internal drive. We just name it, right? So we put into it, press enter, select it. And what it's going to do is to continue the installation process. And after it's finished, it's going to be a hell lot of entries, and you will going to select them from the macOS install prebooter, or maybe a file vault prebooter. But the only thing you're gonna choose is to choose the macOS drive. It's just the macOS, start macOS, instead of installing or everything else. Well, the second time it rebooted. Again, boot from our internal drive, of course. Well, after this reboot, it should be directly got into the boot menu, like the installation finishing wizard. There is something you will have to consider doing. Well, booting into the USB drive, the Clover bootloader, and you will see a couple of options, I assume. And here we will select the macOS, boot macOS from Untitled, which is our SSD name. You can define your name right when you're formatted into the HFS file system, and this should be the end of the installation, and we're going to configure it from now on. Well, it should not take long. By the way, my Osmo mobile is like running out of battery. It's having a tough time for him. Oh, great. This is right from our what? From our Hackintosh. So select the country you're in, for which I'm United Kingdom, and British keyboard. And well, you are not supposed to have this Wi-Fi network thing, because the Wi-Fi network is not currently available in the original Wi-Fi card into the device. But my Hackintosh has switched into a Dell Wireless 1830 wireless card, which is supported by this macOS internally. So now here we select my computer do not connect to the internet. Yeah, this is the case where you're gonna be facing. So I'm going to do as exact as what you are gonna face. Well, continue. Data and privacy, continue. Don't transfer any information right now, of course, because maybe you can transfer some of yours. Well, a computer account. Well, password. Perfect. And we'll have to have a hint here. It's not relevant at all. Just use it at your own risk, but you will have to have a hint for some reason. And here, Express setup. We do customize our settings. We can enable the location service. It's okay, and we don't send any data. Here, and with Apple, we don't send it to them for privacy. Choose my look. I can either go dark or either go light, and I might just choose the dark side. That should be everything. The installation is done, and now we're going to configure it. Well, in order to configure your Hackintosh, you will need an additional tool here, which is called the Clover Configurator. I'm going to show you in a minute where you can simply download it in here. Well, in this case, there is actually an Ethernet port is available here. Well, let me show you. So the Ethernet port, we have two Ethernet ports here. One is on this side and the other is this side. Well, this side, the Ethernet port is working totally fine, like out of the box, I would say. And this port is not working at all. So use this port. If you can't use it, you can use your iPhone to tether the 4G network using a USB cable, and that's fine. And if you can't really get this thing done, you can simply just download the Clover Configurator in another device, and it's good to go. So the Wi-Fi part is rather tricky because you have to buy some additional hardware, whether it's external or internally, using the M.2 slots inside your machine. It's totally fine whether you choose anything of it. Setting up your Mac. Well, please set up quicker, okay? Well, during the loop, the death loop, it's happening. Well, but I think it's going to be just fine. It's not gonna cause me any problem, I assume. Well, it's still rolling. Perfect. So now it's the wizard telling you it's going to identify. Okay, press it, done. Okay, this is what we got here so far. And now use the Clover Configurator now. Well, in this case, I'm going to simply just use the USB drive, plug it into my real Mac, and download it. You can use it, download to Clover Configurator, and you will find Mac 100 projects, which seemed like a scam, but it's not. Well, download it. Well, oh, this is the real download button, which look like a scan. Well, verify this capture. Okay. Download. It's a ccgip.zip. Well, copy it over into our USB drive and we're good to go. Go back to our Hackintosh. Plug it in. Wait for its recognition. Yeah, perfect. And we got our ccg.zip. Open it up. And the Clover Configurator, which is a very key factor when we're using this one. Well, first thing first, mount your EFI every time. Mount it. Yeah, in this case you will see two of this, like the Intel SSD, which is internal, and the flash drive. We will have to mount them all because we will have to copy the EFI file from our USB drive to our internal drive, so that you can boot into your computer without the USB drive. Okay, we can click the Clover Configurator here, and the EFI1, yeah, this should be it. The EFI1 is actually the USB drive EFI partition, and the EFI is actually the target, which is our internal drive EFI partition that don't have the EFI Clover, and it's actually well selected. Yeah, and hit clone. Perfect. And we can go ahead and unmount our USB flash drive EFI partition and go ahead and edit the configuration here. Well, here we are going to here one. You know what? I'm not going to configure all of this for you. Instead, I'm going to upload an EFI partition, like in Clover folder, for you to easily copy and paste the configuration here. Well, give me a minute to prepare it for you. Okay, so I have already finished the uploading work. So here we are going to I'm going to show you how you're going to download my Clover configuration there, and eventually you will get my configuration there. So now I have to eject the USB drive from my Hackintosh, which is the machine on the back, and get my drive out and plug it into. I'm currently using this one. Well, I have already uploaded onto Google Drive, and I click the sharing link, and the Safari pop up, and let me download the zip file here. Well, click the download button. Perfect. Well, it's a zip. copy the zip into your USB drive and eject it. Well, now we have a drive that contains the Clover button. Configuration. Put it back into our here. Well, start recording. Well, got it wrong. Well, here we have the Clover2.zip. Just extract it, and then we go to Clover Configurator. The multi-FI here, we open the partition. Now we open the FI partition here. We can directly delete the current Clover here, and we copy my Clover back here and clean up to make it back into grid. So what we're doing here, reopen the Clover Configurator, go to Home, and select this comment. This should be the configurator, like the configuration, like the config.plist. Actually, this one, Clover here, this one, the plst file is actually plain text. It's just for configuring this Clover bootloader. And the actual, actually the KEXTs, like kernel extensions, are here. So I have fake SMC, which is crucial to all the Hackintoshes, and this is the Ethernet driver, LILU, which is for working for a whole bunch of other things like whatever green is for the graphics, and the USB injector. This is like, we have a lot of USB ports, which like Apple doesn't support that much USB ports. So that's all. We don't have any audio driver here because VoodooHDA is now preventing the Hackintosh for booting now. So we are not using it right now. We have no sound right now. Yeah, that's the thing. Well, the last thing you're gonna do is go to SMBIOS. You have to generate everything. Like, okay, you have to select iMac 18.3, and you will generate these things, and you will check coverage. Well, as for the check coverage here, it's actually, you have to know, like no one is using your system serial number there. As long as you checked your coverage, there is the Apple webpage tells you that this number is not valid, then this number is usable, because you don't want to use that. If there is anyone using already this serial number, you are using it, you are taking up this place, it's not good. I mean it's going to like crash your iCloud account. So make sure generate a new one and then check coverage using this one. Okay, perfect. And press Command plus S and quit. And now we can boot without our USB drive. Okay, let's eject it, plug it out, and let's see if we can boot into the device. It should boot into the device and get all of your graphics and everything working. I don't know if this video is going to be about like 20-30 minutes, but it's going to be so long. Well, perfect. This is what we are expecting. Directly put into the macOS on your Untitled. Press enter. Well. So these themes, I'm not going to show you how to change the themes, but you can like you can just figure it out by yourself, and it's quite easy to do some research. and it's all set. Oh, holy crap. So it's actually, well, that's not really good. So I might stop the recording right now. So let me go. Oh god. My oscilloscope is not holding up properly. It's dying, literally dying. So the Wi-Fi should not work. In case I misled you, because the Wi-Fi is actually powered by another Wi-Fi card. I have already changed another Wi-Fi card, and the original Wi-Fi card is somewhere in my closet here. I can't really find it anywhere. No, okay. And we can see Punchpad is working perfectly, but there's one thing not work, which is glitches everywhere. That's because the graphics card is not really working properly. And now I'm going to try to boot into our like my currently working drive on the other side. Well, now you can see the AirDrop is actually working totally fine, and I'm going to transfer all the footages all the way, like thousands of gigabytes, all the way using AirDrop towards my my new iMac I'm using right now. So okay, it's time to show you what's working and what's not. Well, Chrome is working, but Safari is not working. Totally not working. Don't. Okay, so when I open YouTube, it glitches everywhere. Well, you can see that. Well, perfect. Office does not work at all. Everything you type in, they are going to break apart into shit. Well, don't save it, never save it. However, Final Cut and Lightroom is working properly, and instead it's working really fine. Well, everything, I'm going to edit this video. Okay, this is not working well. I'm not going to show you my password. Well, what the fuck? But it's working. I'm telling you, it's working. And League of Legends is working, and StarCraft 2 is working somehow. Okay, and QQ, I use it a lot, and WeChat I use it a lot. It's working too. And Chrome, it's for web browsing, and Photos is totally fine. Everything is fine, and it's workable. If you are using Final Cut Pro, you're using Motion, you're using Compressor, and Lightroom. Let me try it again. It's not relevant problem. Okay. I know. Creative Cloud. I use this one instead. Why I'm signed out? Google.com. Well, as well, you can see this. This like is working. How do we call it? Gestures is working because I'm using the genuine Apple touchpad right now. You can use it too. And the Apple Watch unlocking feature is sometimes it worked because the signal is not really very much great. I'll give it a lock screen.
I'll cancel it. Maybe it will work. Oh, the screen is being shared, so fine. It's not working because I'm actually now recording the screen. Well, that should be everything you need to know. Like, these glitches are totally everywhere, but it's not really blocking everything, so you can actually see things from it, through it. And AirDrop is working, and sometimes you will see this like this continuity working. And if I go to this Mac this way, yeah, I'll open up youtube.com. It's somehow okay. You can see the personal hotspot is popping up here, and continuity is actually working, but it's just not working so fine because okay, it popped up. Continuity is working, and I'm going to like edit this video for you. Well, so if you have any questions like how to do this, like feel free to comment it below in the description, I mean in the comment below. And if you like it, please give me a like and subscription. I don't know, maybe subscribe to me, and also my Instagram in the description below, or maybe I'll put it here. If you don't see it here, don't be surprised, I'm just getting lazy. And have fun. It's no sound here. Yeah, no sound here. I'm going to use the like those wireless headphones, like the Bluetooth one, to get it working. And somehow I think there is a version of there's one of the version of Apple ALC is giving these HDMI ports coming to life, but it's not released yet. So you can use Apple ALC to try it somehow. And have fun. See you next time.